On January 24th, Fairfax's force scattered a small royalist force which attempted to bar the road to Nantwich at Delamere Forest. Byron decided to maintain the siege, but the next day there was a sudden thaw which caused the Weaver to rise in spate. Byron ordered his infantry and artillery to move to the west bank of the Weaver around Acton, where the ground was drier. The beam bridge and a ferry to its north, however, were then swept away by the flood water, while Byron and his cavalry force of 1,800 were still on the east bank. He was forced to march 6 miles by means of another bridge at Minshul Vernon to support his infantry at Acton. As Fairfax approached Acton, Colonel Richard Gibson, deputizing for Byron's Sergeant Major General Michael Ernoley, who was ill, deployed 4 regiments of infantry, his own and those of Sir Michael Ernoley, Henry Warren, and Robert Byron, the younger brother of Lord Byron, to face Fairfax. Ernoley's, Warren's, and Gibson's regiments had recently returned from Ireland. Most of the Royalist artillery was amassed in Acton Churchyard on the left of Gibson's line. Hunky's locally raised infantry regiment protected the rear against Booth's garrison in Nantwich. Despite the heavy rain and numerous ditches and hedges which broke up the ground in front of Gibson's position, Fairfax's force attacked at about 1,400. Fairfax was informed that Byron was approaching his left rear from the direction of Minshul Vernon, but he deployed only 2 regiments of infantry and his own troop of cavalry to face them, while his main body pushed forward against Gibson. Although Gibson's men repulsed the first Parliamentarian attack, the Parliamentarian cavalry, commanded by Thomas Fairfax's cousin, William Fairfax, outflanked the Royalist right wing and forced it to retreat in the Royalist center. Warren's Irish regiment broke, and Ernoley's own regiment retreated behind Gibson's position. Booth led a sortie from Nantwich with 600 musketeers, which overcame Hunky's regiment and reached Acton Churchyard, overrunning the Royalist artillery and wagon park. By 1630, only Gibson's and Byron's regiments were still fighting on the flanks of Gibson's position. As the Parliamentarians broke through the Royalist center, these 2 regiments were overwhelmed. Many Royalist soldiers defected to the Parliamentarians. The remainder surrendered or fled. About 1,500 were taken prisoner. Many of the officers took refuge in Acton Church and were also taken prisoner after surrendering on terms. Byron retreated to Chester with Royalist cavalry, which had been unable to break through Fairfax's flanking detachment. Aftermath. The defeat at Nantwich thwarted Charles's plan to create a field army in the northwest based on regiments returned from Ireland. The Parliamentarians mistakenly thought that the Irish regiments were Catholics, whom they loathed and also feared their professionalism, but in fact the Royalist General Sir Ralph Hopton wrote of some Irish units which joined his army in the south of England at about the same time. Bold, hardy men and excellently well officered, but the common men very mutinous and shrewdly infected with the rebellious humor of England, being brought over merely by the virtue and loyalty of their officers and large promises, which there was then but small means to perform. One Royalist officer taken prisoner at Nantwich was Colonel George Monk, M-O-N-C-K, in command of Michael Warren's regiment, who later changed sides and was to play a prominent part in the Commonwealth of England and the Restoration. There is an annual reenactment by the Battle of the Sealed Knot near Saturday to January 25th, the commemorative day of the battle, celebrated as by the local people as Holly Holy Day. Holly Holy Day. Why are we saying, they said, I've seen it all over the place, it says January 25th, but it says that the fighting begins on January 24th. And then it just says it lasts for 2 hours. So it wasn't on the 25th, it was on the 24th. And it lasted from 2 o'clock to 4:30. Right? 1400, 2 o'clock, 1630, yeah. 2 to 4:30, so 2.5 hours. On January 24th. That's according to the body of Wikipedia, but at the top it says January 25th. It's fought in Cheshire, First English Civil War. In the Battle, Thomas Fairfax is in command of the Parliamentarian Relief Force. He defeats Lord Byron and the Royalists. Is Lord Byron like one guy, or is that like the Parliamentarian victory halted a series of Royalist successes in the area and was a major setback to Charles's planned military campaign? John Byron is Lord Byron is one fucking first Baron Byron, English nobleman, peer, knight, supporter of Charles during the English Civil War. Did he ever write anything? Did he ever... Do you know him? Do you call him at home? John Byron, the first Baron Byron. Byron? Oh, he's a Baron. The Baron Byron, the Byron Baron, the Baron Byron, Byron. Man, just... Ugh. The Battle of Nantwich. There's a couple notes here. So, Cheshire Cat, Alice in Wonderland, probably right. Cheshire Cat just smiles all deviously and too much, just showing your gums and showing your teeth. Just yes, sir, Bob. Oh, the Battle of Nantwich, yes, right up there by Liverpool and Manchester, really away from London. London's over there in the southeast, right? But Battle of Nantwich is just this tiny little fucking town. Of course, isn't that how it always happens, right? Fucking Liverpool and Manchester wants to fight London, but they fight it out in Nantwich. Nantwich, which is what, a goddamn, it's 2,000 versus 2,000. That was the two armies was about 2,000 versus 2,000. It's a market town. 14,000 today. Okay, so it's getting up there. They got a brine bath and Nantwich Mill. Its governance is by boxing. Okay, that's interesting. So Nantwich. We are looking at the notes. It's a 2-hour battle, and the Royalists are going to be defeated. So fucking the Parliamentarians smash goddamn Royalist motherfuckers and fucking perverted fascist motherfuckers. They'd be the right-wing fucking sovereigns back in their day. The sovereign, that's a sovereign. Why is anything sovereign? In America, really, nothing's sacred. Like, there might be some sacred stuff, but free speech kind of pisses and shits on everything, right? So nothing is immaculately, perfectly sacred. In fact, somebody might say, to protest shows that it is more sacred. It's more sacred. 1,800 horse, 2,000 foot. Oh, it's 4,000. 1,800 horse, 500 dragoons, 2,500 foot. So we had more people. Parliamentarians, Fairfax, Brereton, George Booth versus Byron and Gibson. So fucking Fairfax and Brereton and Booth. We kicked the fucking ass out of Gibson. Richard Dick Gibson and fucking John Byron. Fairfax and Brereton and Booth. Fucking nay. So you had 2,000, 3,000, so what, 5,000 versus 4,000. So we had 1,000 more. So that helps, right? When you have more people, that helps. You can, win the momentum or whatever. But ultimately, 2-hour battle. They destroyed a very large Royalist army up in the northwest. And what are they going to do with the north now? Pretty much it was untouched. So, goddamn, they saved the fucking north. Thomas Fairfax saved the north for the Parliamentarians. Thomas Fairfax had 5,000 men from Lincolnshire. It was the first battle in 1644, January 25th, January 24th. But the Battle of Nantwich was the first battle in 1644. Thomas Fairfax had 5,000 Lincolnshire men. I thought Lincoln was German, Linkhorn. But Lincoln, there's a Lincolnshire. 3,500 by John Byron. Left the Royalists weak in the north, 1643. So the Parliamentarians, this was like headquarters. They already had garrisoned the town. You had 2,000, and there was heavily supplied. 1,800 military base of the Parliamentarians. It's kind of like the HQ. 1643. I don't know what 1,800. Oh, that's how many people was. They had 1,800 strong. And then they defeated everybody, and they took 1,500 prisoners, right? They killed 200 or something, but took the rest prisoners. So that's a great battle. If you're able to fucking encapsulate everybody and they just say, okay, here's the guns. 3 officers, 3 high-ranking officers are going to get captured, 1,500 prisoners captured, 200 killed, artillery captured, baggage train captured, a lot of captures. A lot of things are captured. So the Battle of Nantwich is a great success for the good guys, great success for the Rainbow Revolutionaries, great success for democracy, freedom and justice, peace, love. Great success for all of humanity. All of humanity was made better by the parliamentarians and the roundheads of Oliver Cromwell and their fight against that piece of shit Charles. Fuck that Charles motherfucker. What authority? By what authority do you? Only a god can judge a king. Only a god can judge a king. The Battle of Nantwich. Good old Nantwich. Good old Nantwich. See here. Bloody 2-hour battle. You know what? Thomas Fairfax is kind of a